Hey there, future homeowners and sellers. Did you know that even after an offer is accepted, a home sale can still fall apart? Don't worry. About 95% of contracts make it to the table, but there's always that one, and it's nobody's favorite. But it can happen for a bunch of different reasons, from financing issues to inspection surprises. In this video, I want to share the most common reasons why real estate deals fall through. So whether you're buying or selling, you'll know what red flags to look for. Here are some of the most common reasons deals don't make it to closing. If you ever seen a house go under agreement and then notice a few weeks later it's available again, you're not crazy. It's possible one of these things happen. My very first manager would always say that home inspections are the #1 reason that home sales fall through. But since so many buyers have waived the home inspection after COVID and the multiple offer home buying frenzies, home inspections have actually been bumped to #2. Do you want to take a guess at what #1 is these days? Financing. Sometimes the buyer's application gets denied. And this won't happen to you because you watched my video on tips for the home buying pre-approval process. But I digress. Let's go back to the video. This can happen for several reasons due to change in credit usage, debt to income ratio, job loss, etc. Say the home buyer went a little crazy shopping for the new place and that ruined the debt to income ratio. I talk about this a little in the video on mistakes to avoid with your pre-approval. Definitely check out that video. A lender taught the class and he gave us lots of tips and tricks that we could share with our clients. When COVID first came to the US, I remember closings being canceled left and right because people were losing their jobs. It was awful, but a good tip to remember once you're pre-approved is to continue business as usual. It's starting to rain. Back to the video. A good tip to remember is once you're pre-approved is to continue business as usual. You don't want to make any major changes to your debt or your income. Don't quit your job. Don't buy or finance any large ticket items, cars, or furniture. Don't deposit any large cash amounts without a verifiable source. And don't co-sign or any other loan. This may seem like common sense, but mistakes are made every single day. And you know what? Life happens. #2, home inspection problems. This is where the home inspection pays for itself. You don't want to cancel a contract because the ceiling fan is jiggly. Let me share a true story of my own. The grill was too close to the house and it melted the vinyl siding a bit. And we'd always thought it would be a huge deal to get it repaired. Never did. When it was time to sell the house, this came up on the inspection report and the buyers wanted it repaired. Guess what? It wasn't difficult at all. Apparently, siding comes off in pieces. They pulled the damaged piece off, found a similar style piece, and had the paint matched. I lived with that melted siding for years, and it ended up being a simple fix. Don't you hate when that happens? I always try to get my clients to focus on safety, mechanical, or structural damages. Some of the smaller issues are a pain, like the jiggly ceiling fan, because that was also on my inspection report the last time I sold a house. But a seller who wants to sell will find a way to make it right. But if there are serious problems, you as the buyer can terminate the contract and move on in search of a better home. If the buyer and seller can't agree on who pays for repairs, you can terminate the contract. Next up, appraisal issues. #3. When the home appraises for less than the offer price. This is also everybody's worst nightmare. A lender won't finance a home for more than the appraised amount. So the buyer will have to pay the difference in cash, or the seller will have to come down on the price, or the buyer can walk away. I had someone ask, what happens if it appraises for more? Valid question. But they wanted to know if they could get the money. And the answer to that is no. but that's instant equity for you as a buyer. And that can come in useful for something like for someone who's not putting down 20%, because if you wait a couple years and the appraisal value goes a lot higher in your area and your home appraises for more, even though you haven't put more money down, if you have that equity, you may be able to refinance your home with that 20%, and then you could get the PMI taken off. You may no longer have to pay it. Just a suggestion, because we're talking about this today. And here's an example of how this works. Buyer offers the seller $100K, but the appraisal comes in at $95K. The lender will process the mortgage at $95K, so you can still get the house, but the lender won't finance a home for more than the appraised amount. Remember, the seller said yes because you offered $100K. So who's making up the difference? What do you do? If the seller refuses to lower the price or negotiate at all, and if the buyer doesn't want to or can't afford to pay the difference, it's anybody's guess. You're at a standstill. I've actually had 2 experiences where the buyer was willing to pay a little more to make up the difference and the sale went through. Sometimes the buyer is like, look, I've already paid for the appraisal because you did, and if the difference is small enough, they'll figure out a way to make the sale go through. It's when there's a large gap, that's when things get tricky. Because as a seller, do you want to put the home back on the market and go through showings all over again? And what if the next appraiser says the same thing? You have to weigh your options. Number 4 is contingency failures. And this covers a variety of situations. Buyer's remorse. A buyer gets cold feet, so they use one of the contingencies to withdraw from the contract. That happens. Things like the buyer's home sale contingency, that's another one. That would allow the buyer to pull their offer if their current home doesn't sell within a certain time period. These contingencies may not kill the deal completely, but they can cause your sale to be pending for a very long time. And the seller might not want to wait. Another one is the repairs the seller agreed to are not completed. I had a friend not go to closing because of this. Closing was delayed, but she flat out did not go. I wasn't a realtor then, and I was like, wait, that's an option? And this has been happening in some states here in the United States where buyers can't get homeowners insurance. Think Florida due to hurricanes and flood risk insurance. Companies have gone bankrupt or left the state. Premiums are soaring. California is another example due to the wildfires. Major insurers have paused writing new policies in many areas. There are many states where premiums are rising quickly and insurers are tightening underwriting standards. And since insurance is required for a mortgage, if buyers can't get affordable coverage, they might not be able to close on the home. High premiums can blow up a buyer's budget. And there's also legal or HOA issues. It could be something as simple as not being able to have a fence or a certain pet breed in a community. Maybe you drive a tractor trailer and they're not allowed to be parked in the community. So how are you supposed to get home? Some communities don't allow branded work trucks. This is why it's important to get a copy of the community rules and regulations as early as you can so you can look through, know the rules, and know if it's a good fit for you ahead of time. And it's not always drama. Maybe you're a hairstylist or a dentist and you want to use a part of your home or design a space in the home for work. This could require zoning, a change in zoning, and you find out that it's not going to be allowed. That could prevent you as a buyer from moving forward with the property. While most home sales close smoothly and in a timely manner, there are a number of things that happen between the contract date and closing date. However, reality is that not every real estate deal is going to make it to a happy ending, unfortunately. Failed sales are less than 5%, so a majority of sales close. But some deals do fall apart for different reasons. Putting a home back on the market is no fun for the seller and can provoke a lot of questions from potential buyers and their realtors. Sometimes it is completely out of the seller's control. And just so you know, sometimes sellers do it too because maybe they couldn't find a house. And those are some of the more popular reasons a home sale might not go through. So take that information and prepare yourself for moving forward. If you are a new buyer and haven't done this thing before, I definitely recommend you watch my video with tips and tricks on getting your pre-approval so you can learn, because in that video I talk about some of the things that happen with other buyers, because I was in a room with other agents and they were sharing stories, and I share all of that in that video. My name is Tiffany Nelson. I am a realtor here in the Lehigh Valley. If you or someone you know needs a realtor, I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. It started to rain. We had to come inside. Okay. And the rain stopped.